My name is Emily. I'm 21 years old, and I work at Pine Brook Market, a small grocery store nestled just outside a quiet town called Millfield in Georgia. Since I'm not enrolled in school full-time, my manager often schedules me for the overnight shift. Pine Brook used to be open 24 hours, so overnight shifts were common. On one particular night, my shift was from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I was one of only a few employees stocking shelves, while one or two others manned the registers up front. Because Pine Brook sits deep in the countryside, business during these hours was almost non-existent, but it was the perfect time to restock. I didn't really know the other night crew, but the store was so massive that we rarely crossed paths. I started my shift folding clothes in the men's section, headphones in, enjoying the quiet. Around 11:30 p.m., a customer appeared near the jeans aisle. Not unusual, some people still shopped late before closing at midnight. He asked if we had a pair of jeans in a different size than what was on the rack. I apologized, saying those were the only ones left. He thanked me and walked away. When I accidentally caught his eyes as he returned the jeans, it felt oddly tense. He quickly turned and disappeared down an aisle. Hours passed. The store grew eerily silent, empty as a ghost town. Around 1 a.m., I moved to the appliances section, hauling boxes from the stockroom to fill empty shelves. That's when I noticed him again, the same man standing just a few aisles over, watching me. When he realized I saw him, he looked away quickly, but his eyes were unmistakable. I cautiously approached, curious if he had anything in his hands. Nothing. No cart, no basket, no sign he'd been shopping for 2 hours. Something was off. I hurried to finish stocking coffee makers and microwaves, then wheeled my empty cart back to the stockroom. I stayed there a while, scrolling on my phone, feeling his gaze linger longer than I'd noticed. Deciding to switch things up, I headed to the dairy cooler to restock milk and yogurt crates. The hum of the refrigerators filled the room. Suddenly, the cooler door slammed open. Through a gap in the stacked crates, I saw him, the same man, stepping inside. Panic surged through me. I dove behind a shelf and pushed a crate of eggs in front of me, hoping the noise of the refrigerators would mask any sounds. Why was he here? Why was he following me? Minutes dragged by as I crouched, heart pounding. Eventually, I dared to peek up, and there he was, right in front of me, grinning. I screamed. His smile vanished. He reached to cover my mouth, but I shoved the crate of eggs at him. The eggs smashed on the floor, and he stumbled back, staring at the mess. I bolted. I ran until I found another stock worker, a guy named Jake. I told him what happened, breathless and terrified. Then the man approached us, calm and collected. "I'm from corporate," he said smoothly. "Just checking in to make sure everything's running smoothly. Didn't mean to scare you." Jake seemed to buy it, but I wasn't convinced. I asked why he put his hand over my mouth. "To keep things quiet," he said, then ordered me to finish the appliance section before briskly walking away. I called after him, "What's your name?" He paused, glanced back, and said, "Mark." Then he disappeared. The next day, I called the store manager, Mrs. Reynolds, and asked if anyone from corporate named Mark was supposed to visit during the night shift. She laughed nervously. "No way. That's not happening at 2 a.m., and we have no record of any Mark coming by." They checked the security footage. The cameras showed the man a stranger lurking in the aisles, watching me for hours. A police report was filed. After that night, I refused to work overnight shifts. Mrs. Reynolds understood. Now, I stick to daytime hours, stocking shelves or manning the register anywhere but the shadows of midnight at Pine Brook Market. What's one place you can always find the weirdest, creepiest people? For me, it's always the local discount store. No matter where I go, there's always at least one person who makes you want to look over your shoulder twice. This incident happened the Thursday before Black Friday at the Greenfield Market, a big store in a sleepy town called Cedarville, Tennessee. The store was open late that night, and I was there around 11 p.m. hunting for a new laptop. By chance, I grabbed the last laptop on the shelf, the one with the big Black Friday deal sticker on it. Just as I was about to put it in my cart, this huge, filthy man appeared out of nowhere. He looked like he hadn't showered in weeks, and his eyes were wild. He insisted he needed that laptop badly. I nervously told him, "Sorry, this is the last one." That set him off. He started yelling, making a scene right there in the aisle. My heart was pounding. I'm not usually rattled by people, but something about him was different. Other shoppers stared, some trying to laugh it off, calling him crazy, but I just wanted to get out of there. Clutching the laptop, I hurried to the checkout line. The man kept yelling after me, but I didn't look back. When I got home, everyone was asleep. I went outside to the backyard, by the pool, to set up my new laptop under the stars. Suddenly, the motion-activated light on the side of the house flicked on. I went to check. Usually it's just animals from the woods nearby setting it off, but still, it made me uneasy. I shrugged it off, went inside, locked the door, and finished setting up my laptop in the living room. Then, out of nowhere, my car alarm started blaring. It was my old sedan parked in the driveway. I looked out the window and saw a car parked right in front of the house, a car that definitely wasn't there when I pulled in. Our neighborhood is gated, quiet, and everyone parks in their own big driveways. A stranger's car on the street was a red flag. I stepped outside cautiously and noticed someone sitting inside that car. My skin crawled. I quickly went back inside, locked every door, and ran to my mom's room. "Mom, I think someone's outside, and they mean us harm," I whispered. Mom and Dad have a complicated relationship, and Dad wasn't home that night. It felt different without him around. Mom followed me downstairs, her face pale and worried. She peeked through the peephole by the front door, then gasped, covering her mouth. I looked too. There, standing on our front stoop, was the huge man from the store. His wild eyes locked on the door. I whispered, "I think he followed me from Greenfield Market." Suddenly, the doorknob started to jiggle. He was trying to get in. When that didn't work, he began pounding on the door hard. Mom gasped again, and my little sister came running out of her room, terrified. The pounding stopped. Silence fell, broken only by Mom's shaky voice on the phone with 911. Then a loud crash from the den. A window shattered. Mom and my sister screamed. I told them to run upstairs while I locked the den door behind me. I waited, heart hammering, expecting him to try the door next. But nothing. Minutes later, I heard a police siren wail outside, the fastest response I've ever heard. I ran out to meet the officers and led them to the den, where broken glass littered the floor. They found the man hiding behind the couch, filthy, wild-eyed, screaming curses and threats at me. He was arrested immediately. The cop said he seemed unstable, probably on drugs, and assured us he wouldn't bother us again. So yeah, it might be fun to people watch at the discount store and laugh at the oddballs, but sometimes you might just come face to face with someone dangerous lurking in the aisles. Be careful out there. Working the night shift at Lakeside Mart as a weekend stock clerk was my second job while I was finishing college. I needed to pay off my loans, so I took whatever work I could get. My job mostly involved signing for night deliveries, doing warehouse work, and stocking shelves after hours. I rarely dealt with customers. Typical shifts ran from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., or sometimes midnight to 7 a.m. It was July 20th, 2020, a Monday night, and I still can't get that night out of my head. I was halfway through my shift in the electronics aisle when out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone move past the aisle I was working in. Normally, that wouldn't faze me, but there were only 2 other employees in the entire building that night, Alvin and Marcus. We all clocked in together, wearing the same green staff shirts. The figure I saw was dressed entirely in black. Curious and a little uneasy, I walked to the end of the aisle and peeked around the shelves. No one was there. I called out for Alvin and Marcus, but no answer. Shrugging it off, I went back to work. I'd been holding in a pee for a while and promised myself I'd go once I finished in that aisle. Seconds later, a loud crash echoed a few aisles down. It startled me. I ran over to investigate and found a bicycle had been knocked off its hook. The hook was still intact. It looked like someone had deliberately pushed it off. I hung the bike back up, feeling suspicious. I made my way toward the back of the store, to the paper and cleaning supplies aisle. That's when I heard it, a chilling, eerie laugh coming from the next aisle over. My heart sank. I ran back to the aisle and saw a man dressed in black standing at the end, his back to me. His head was turned just enough so I could see half of his face. Then, without warning, he ran not toward me, but down another aisle. I heard his footsteps echoing, accompanied by that unsettling laughter, like he was circling me. I had a choice: chase him or find Alvin and Marcus. I chose to find my co-workers. I found Alvin in the women's department and warned him to be on the lookout for someone dressed in black who didn't belong. We didn't have walkie-talkies, so I asked Alvin to alert Marcus if he saw the man. Then I excused myself. I couldn't hold it any longer. I dashed to the employee bathroom in the warehouse section. I put a nest of toilet paper on the seat. Yes, I'm the kind of person who sits when I pee, and sat down. Suddenly, the bathroom door opened and closed. With only 3 or 4 people in the building, I called out, "Who's there?" No answer. Then I heard that horrible laugh again. From the crack beneath the door, I saw a shadowy figure peek in, just one eye visible. The whispering started unintelligible and echoing off the bathroom walls, making it even more terrifying. I remembered I had Alvin's number saved on my phone. I called him, loud and urgent, telling him to come to the bathroom immediately. I stayed on the line, watching as the man outside the stall left, then returned, then finally ran out. Alvin arrived about 20 seconds later, but said he didn't see anyone on the way. We didn't have security personnel on site overnight, so checking cameras wasn't an option. I stuck close to Alvin the rest of the night, helping wherever I could, safety in numbers. The next day, I woke up to a text from my boss. He said all the cameras had shown static footage that night. No one had turned them off. I got chills reading that. He believed my story and thought it might be connected to the cameras, but without video proof of the trespassing, there wasn't much he could do. It was above my pay grade. That was the only night shift I ever worked where something truly unexplainable happened.